when we say teleforensics, for everything now we keep adding the adjective for forensics. That means anything related. We mean by forensics it's only application. We don't invent things, new things, but it is rather we only try to apply whatever knowledge which is available in other fields or elsewhere. We only try to apply that, and we also try to use that technology, and then we try to help finally it is to assist or help or guide, whatever you may say, the investigating officer who is there in the crime scene. I know states like Karnataka are happy, they have exclusive officers, but then what is the plight of other states? They don't have exclusive designated officers for crime scene. So most of the time it is the IO who goes to the scene of offence, and then most of the time is confused what to collect, what not to collect. And if there can be some way where sitting in his chamber, the FS scientist should have some access, some technology or some gadget or some appliance whereby he can actually, as if he is there, as if he is doing the investigation, crime scene investigation, if that kind of a facility is there, so that will save a lot of things, that is resources, manpower. Because forensic scientist, any forensic scientist for that matter, if you just touch him, he'll say, I have so many cases pending, my officers are busy, so I'm not getting kits. So they have so many issues, So it is next to impossibility that they should physically come to the scene as a handhold the investigating officer, do the proper investigation, help him out in giving lot of leads and all. That's all exterior stories. Now stories have changed. Now technology is improving by leaps and bounds. Now teleforensics is one such niche area where remotely it should be possible. So if I can't go there, remotely if I can control the entire system, then it will save a lot of things. So that is precisely what the teleforensics focuses on. Now it refers the application. As I told you, it is application. For that matter, any forensics is an application. So what kind of technologies are we going to apply? Now this is telecommunication. Tele means distance, as I told you, distant, remote, isn't it, far away. Now these telecommunication technologies we can use, apply, and then what is the facility, what is the advantage. Now forensic expertise even can be remotely extended to the field. That means there is no need that the expert always should visit, always should come to the scene and help the investigating officer. Even remotely sitting in his own place, using these kind of new technologies, he can extend his expertise to the fellow who is working in the field. That's what we mean by teleforensics. Now, what is the role of the specialist? Now, the role of the specialist, forensic specialist, is to assist remotely. Need not be there in the physical location, but he can remotely assist the investigating officer. For what purposes? Because crime scenes are complex. So each crime scene is unique in its own way. So you can't say that you have experience of one crime scene, so similar will be for others also. You can't just say each is unique, each is complex. So for that reason, to assist this investigating officer sitting in his own chamber, these are the technologies right now which are available to us. It need not be crime scene alone. Other locations which are remote are actually where forensic analysis is required. Now there may be some gadgets which you cannot shift it to the field, but if you can see what is happening in the crime scene, what are all the evidences that need to be collected, that kind of guidance if the scientist can give remotely by sitting in his own chamber, then IO will definitely understand what to collect, what not to collect, and what is required for forensic analysis he will be able to guess through forensic scientists by using this kind of teleforensic technologies. Now, the how it has to happen, some recording system should be there so that a proper recording of the crime scene will happen, and some transmitter has to be there which by 24/7 into week it should be able to constantly send the data. So data, it need not be image alone. There is a lot of data that gets generated in the crime scene. It can be in the form of photos, it can be in the form of a video, it can be in the form of a sound, or it can be in the form of any format as far as the digital evidences are concerned. Now, if the scientist can monitor, if these images, if he wants to monitor remotely, not going to the scene, there should be some wherewithal. Now, camcorders are coming very handy. Now, camcorders are now replaced by smartphones, and all smartphone, you name any application, it will be there. So, camcorder is one thing, and it should have a fitting for wireless transmission, because constantly the data has to move from the location to the FS, or where the scientist is sitting remotely. Now he should be able to monitor, not that crime scene management is over, leisurely the IO is sending the images or videos later on. It's not like that. Real time, as it is happening in the crime scene, simultaneously both the IO and the scientist, as if they are face to face, they should be able to share information, they should be able to share knowledge and all, and that's how he gets the assistance from the forensic scientist, without even spending for his travel or spending for his vehicle and all. These things can be, logistics can be reduced to a very great extent. Now, having understood the definition of teleforensics, now we need to understand what are all the key features of a forensic teleforensics. That means what exact benefit are we going to derive by using the teleforensic technologies. Now, as I told you, remote consultancy. See, always you cannot expect a scientist to be there 24/7. Now, he has got other engagements also. Now, if you want a forensic expert's consultancy, what is that you can do? If he can't come, other way is remotely. So, send all the information from the crime scene, so that real time, as it is happening, he will also have the first hand information. He can also, as if he is there in the scene, he can also monitor, he can also give guidance, he can also support, and this is all possible because of the telecommunication channels. Now, there are a number of platforms now available to us. It can be video conferencing, you can send voice calls, you can message him, you can text to him. So there are a number of platforms. By using these platforms, telecommunication channels, it will be very easy now for the forensic scientist to give a piece of advice or piece of leads into the case by remotely operating. So remote consultation is one great feature which teleforensics is offering. Now the other one is, once you are done with the crime scene, now there are other things also. You have protected the crime scene, you have identified the method of searching it, you have drawn the sketches and all, okay. But then what is the other thing which is very important for us? Evidence evaluation. What to collect and what not to collect. Because the routine cases anyway, murder, the rape and all, we know, because they are thoroughly trained and all, again and again. Police officer, to some extent, some of them at least, they know what to collect, what evidences to be collected and where exactly they are to be searched for. This is known for traditional crimes. But then when it comes to digital evidences in cyber world, now it will be very difficult for them. They will not be able to understand what is evidence in the first place. Only when they know what is evidence, where to look for, then they will be able to do that job properly. So for them, they require some assistance, isn't it? So for what? Assistance for what? Evaluation, documentation of physical evidence. Because unless until you properly document the the physical evidence, it will be difficult. If there is no document existing, tomorrow if the case comes to a trial, what IO is going to explain? Because he has not bothered to document, he has not taken help from the forensic scientist. He feels that he can be dispensed with, so, and also feels that he is capable of doing documentation properly. Outcome is that he has not prepared a document, prepared document, and he is not able to remember anything, because it invariably takes 5 to 6 years or maybe more time to see the trial, go to the stage of the trial, invariably it takes a lot of time, isn't it? Now, by the time he may forget everything because he has not documented. So, evidence evaluation is another very great important area where forensic scientists can also assist. Now, what are the factors, what are the stages in which he can help? He can evaluate. That means whatever evidences he is trying to collect, whether they are proper, whether they are worth sending to the lab, or they are only vestigial, which have nothing to do with the crime scene and all. So that kind of an evaluation has to happen. And now once you have segregated the evidence from others, then you need to properly document. Document matlab by way of photo, by way of video, by way of notes and all. And there are a number of methods to document the physical evidence. So all these things, immediately it is happening. I mean, not that he leisurely takes photos, videos, and then at his own pace he is sending. It is all happening in the real scenario because of the this feature of teleforensics. Now, case review. Now, finally, what is that we try to do? Case review. We have protected the scene, we have properly documented the scene, we have documented even the physical evidences, we have evaluated, we have done all that. But then finally, it is the review. It is the case review. I mean, how many evidences have to be collected, and whether we can make out a good case out of that, and then what other evidences, if they are there, what they need to be collected, or something from the suspect or from the accused, do we need to collect, and then what is the procedure. This kind of a review also is very important, and teleforensics has got a role in that also, case review. So what it exactly does, teleforensic experts can review case material. What are the case materials here? As I told you, now we include photographs, we include videos, and at times, as I told you, we also try to generate lot of preliminary reports there. Do some preliminary kind of field deployable kits we use, and we generate a lot of reports, and that reports also have to be reviewed, isn't it? So if we get a positive test, what is that? And if there is a dull color, if the intensity of the color is not that bright, then what is the inference that has to be drawn, whether the particular color is an account of false reaction or false negative and all. Now, these kind of things have to be evaluated properly. So what are the materials that are required for reviewing a case? It can be in the form of a photograph, it can be a video, it can be a voice, it can be a written report also. Now, this is with a view to initially assess. Why initial assessment? Final assessment of the case will happen only in the lab. But initially some assessment also has to happen at the field level. So that is what is case review. So for such case review, initial assessment, the teleforensics will help to a very great extent. Now assess the case, review the case, and whatever recommendations he can suggest, he can remotely suggest him for further investigation or further improvisation of the investigation. So this is with regard to the case review. We are looking at the key features of the teleforensics. We have seen remote consultation, what do we mean by that, and evidence evaluation. So what evidence to be collected, in what proper way it has to be collected, whether what we have collected is adequate or inadequate, or some more samples have to be drawn. These are all the evidence evaluation. Once that is done, now finally case review, then photos are there, videos are there, some written reports are there. Now with all that, we should be able to see whether any further investigation is required, or whatever material that so far is collected is enough, adequate and all. That is case review, and teleforensics has got a role even in that. Now interdisciplinary collaboration, because some complex cases, they may require the expertise of a forensic fingerprint, or it may require ballistic experts intervention, or at times DNA analysis. So there are so many other interlinked departments that do have to take a part in the entire investigation. So in that case, to have a good kind of a communication channel, teleforensics will help to a great extent. Not only that, if suppose the defense fellow or the trial judge, if he wants that, how the crime scene and all, how they have collected and all, if he also wants to take part in that, though it is an investigation, normally they don't interfere, but some judges may be interested to know. So he can, all other stakeholders, like anyway invariably the prosecution opinion we have to take, once we evaluate the evidences and all, we have to take his opinion also, whether sections have been adequately included or some more sections have to be added. Anyway, all the documents related to the case, that is called case docket, has to be submitted to the prosecutor also. So if he wants, instead of coming physically, interacting and all, he may also say, you also add me in the group, so that whenever such evaluations happen, I can also participate. So this kind of understanding can be there. So this is all not only interdisciplinary collaboration among the forensic fraternity, but some stakeholders like in the criminal justice system, prosecutor or the defense or the trial judge, even if they wanted to participate, they can participate in the processes. Now we have seen this what is teleforensics, then what are the key features involved, then comes the benefit of the teleforensics. What are all the benefits that we can accrue? Now, as we said, rapidity, because this is an era of era where we give a lot of importance to time. So one cannot afford to lose time. So there should be rapidity in every aspect. Now here, quick decisions have to be taken on the spot in the crime scene, because they can't wait. Before they finish or process one crime scene, another is ready. I think Patil can add comment on this, because you also must have seen in a day maybe 2-3 cases. Once you are processing one case, maybe there is a phone call again from your boss. Naine, there is another case, you please do it fast and then attend to that. What is your experience?
Yes, ma'am. Several times it will happen, but we do not hurry up or rush.
I know.
In that process. We ask them to wait, we ask them to civil, not to use the body.
I know.
And if there is an accident case, and which would definitely require to clear the road because there would be a lot of traffic.
Because decision making in such critical times is very, very important. You cannot postpone things. Let me do it very leisurely, then go to the other scene. Let them wait. Anyway, body is dead and gone. Person is dead and gone. There is only dead body. Why should I bother? I mean, that kind of a thing cannot. Forensic scientists cannot have that kind of a luxury. So decision making has to be very quick, and evidences have to be properly processed. Otherwise, if you don't reach the scene fast, what will happen? Degradation, decomposition, lot of issues are there associated with the crime scene. And teleforensics is one area where it is all happening real time. As it is happening elsewhere, it is as if it is happening before his own eyes. The forensic scientist is able to see everything and then able to give a lot of suggestions on that. Now, cost effective, as we have already discussed. Now, if the forensic scientist, if there is no clear cut infrastructure or clear cut scientist, a dedicated scientist for crime scene visits and all, then they have to depend only on the regular forensic scientist. Now, for him, most of I need not explain here what is the plight of a government FSL. Now, government FSLs, even for the director, it is very difficult to get a vehicle. So he brings his own vehicle and then he claims, and most of the time he never minds to drive his own vehicle. And then after COVID and all, no drivers are coming. So it has become almost a habit. Now, if that is the situation, if you ask him to come to the scene and assist you and give his services, no, nothing is free in this world. Now, he may say, no, I don't have a vehicle. Even if I have a vehicle, I don't have a driver. So, even if driver is there, fuel is not there. So, these are the common kind of issues that keep coming. So, to avoid all that, in the first place, you avoid the assistance of the scientist in the first place. Now, physically, if it is not possible, is there any way out where he need not move an inch he can आराम से बैठ सकते अपने कमरे में and then keep on giving lot of guidance, lot of assistance or support. So that is possible. That means we are saving lot of time, resource, money. So this is all cost effective measure. So that way also now the teleforensics is offering lot of benefits. Now when we talk about collaboration, we have already said a lot of collaboration work has to happen, interdisciplinary, being science, forensic science and interdisciplinary kind of a science. We need to have a lot of collaboration. Now collaboration has to happen between the expert, between the law enforcement and also the other stakeholders. As I said, it can be a prosecutor, it can be a judge, or it can be anybody else who is a stakeholder in the CJS. Now information has to be shared, isn't it? Now there should be cooperation. Cooperation can be there only when there is information sharing. Without any, if you keep hiding information and expect the other fellow to offer his opinion, it will be difficult. So for proper sharing of information and cooperation and coordination, the teleforensics is offering a lot of benefits again. Now improved case outcome. So if you are taking care of all the initial output, initial feedings, that is proper taking of video, proper taking of photograph, proper doing of a preliminary test and all, if you are perfect in these things, now the outcome that is going to be generated out of the investigation has to be proper. It is bound to be proper, isn't it? It is bound to be reliable. It is bound to be quality wise, the super quality kind of a thing. So improved case outcomes also is another benefit that can be enjoyed by all of us by using the technologies that are available in the teleforensics. Now it can be the evidence collection process, it can be analysis, or it can be giving some leads to the case and all. I mean, all this is also possible through the teleforensics, and this is another great benefit that we are getting out of the teleforensics. Now we have seen the benefits, we have seen the what exactly is teleforensics and all. So now we should also focus on what are the components and tools of teleforensics. Now tools, appliances for every platform, I have given different headings. So each platform will have a tool, it will have an appliance, it will have a technique. Now there are a number of such platforms that are available. Now the one which is very familiar to all of us is video conferencing. I mean, thanks to the COVID that has come as a kind of a vehicle where we are forced to learn communicate through remote means. So video conferencing is one where there are webinars, there are seminars happening via internet, and then using a lot of platforms like Zoom, MS Teams are there, then Google Meet is there. So there are a number of platforms for us available. Using our Skype is also one thing that we can use, and then we can be in video conferencing, and then we can talk to each other without any barriers and all. So these are the tools. Now when it comes to appliances, similarly forensic laboratories also, they use a lot of high quality, high resolution webcams and specialized cams. These are cameras. Then this will facilitate them to examine the evidences that are submitted to them. A detailed visual examination is possible during the video conferencing. So that is the appliance. That means both the receiver and the sender should have this kind of a gadget appliance with them. Only then there can be a proper two-way communication. Now what is the technique? Video conferencing is allowing. So all these technologies are famous because one thing, they can remotely operate. The other thing, real time. That means as it is happening, you are getting the first hand information. So by two factors, these technologies have become very, very popular these days. Now visual examination, observation of the crime scene, then the forensic scientist is able to immediately guide, because decision making, as I told you, is the very important thing that has to happen in the crime scene itself. So for that you have to immediately be able to give guidance. So when can you give immediate guidance? Only when you are also taking part in the entire event. So that is possible because you are already there in the video conferencing. So whatever guidance or whatever feedback if you have to give as a forensic scientist, you are properly able to do that remotely because you are using the teleforensic tools and all. Now, first one is video conference. The second component that we can think of is softwares. So we have the physical entities, okay, but then what kind of softwares do we need to have so that we can access the information remotely? So these are called remote access softwares, and again as I said, we can divide them into three categories: tools, then appliances, then technique. So what is the tool that we are supposed to have in remote access software? There should be some desktop, which will have the softwares. Now, what are the softwares where you can see the, what is happening elsewhere remotely? So there are certain softwares available. Three are the ones which are popular only I have listed here. TeamViewer is one, AnyDesk is another one, and Splashtop is another one. So like that, there are softwares available. Now these desktops which are located remotely are able to effectively use these kind of software, and then the forensic scientist, with the help of these gadgets, is able to access computers, whatever computers that are there remotely. He is able to access those computers, those devices which are placed in crime scene remotely, because this will be very, very helpful when we talk of cyber crimes and then network frauds and all, where immediately whatever is happening we are able to see one and one through remotely. Now, and what are the appliances? As I said, definitely one need to have a laptop, a tablet. At least these days smartphones are very, very handy. It has got, you name a wireless, it has got a wireless transmitter. You name a recorder, it has got a recorder inbuilt. You want to send it, immediately you are able to send it. So when smartphones are there, when they are very handy, when they are portable, so we don't normally depend on any other thing. So like that, smartphones can be, and laptops, most of the police are given laptops the moment they complete their training and all, including the constable, they are given laptops, so that these kind of digitization can take place very easily. Now, remote access softwares we have already listed in the tools column. Now he is able to remotely access software, and then the forensic experts to remotely view. So once he has got the image, he is able to view that and then interact with the digital evidence. So these software, remote access softwares, are very, very handy when we talk of digital evidence processing. Now, what is the technique that is involved? Now, the forensic experts can remotely examine digital evidence. So not only viewing, once they are able to view, analysis is not a difficult thing. So they are able to examine, they are able to do some kind of analysis over there, then and some data has to be recovered, where data you feel is deleted and all, you can always recover the data. Then if you have to do some forensic analysis on the what you call the images or the clones, you are also able to do it because you have got the remote access software available with you. And then provide troubleshooting assistance, because most of the time it is not so easy as we think how to extract the digital evidence, how in the first place in the networking, if suppose a fraud is reported, then which computer exactly is the one, then how to isolate that, and then how to extract the information out of that. Or maybe in the process they may get some doubt, they may get stuck at one particular point of time. Though all that troubleshooting assistance can be given by the forensic scientist remotely. So that is the advantage of the technique when you talk of remote access software. Now coming to the mobile forensic tools are very, very popular. Most of the labs, both state as well as the central labs, are given these kind of, some are open in the market, some are on payment basis and all. It is immaterial what kind of tool and appliance that you are using, as long as that tool or appliance is robust and it is able to stand the vigor of defense and all, it's okay. You should be able to demonstrate. The concerned scientist should be able to amply demonstrate in the code that we have tested all this and they are already being put to use by all scientists, all fraternity, then it is reliable. That kind of assurance you may have to give. So when we talk of tools, again appliances, techniques, three headings. Now tools are very popular. Celebrite is one, UFED is one, Oxy Forensic Detective is another one. They are all available in all the CFSLs, no problem. So they are able to extract data from that and analyze the data and then give some good feedback on the case, how the case has happened, and then whether it is a case of mopping or whether it's a case of obscene photographs, whatever it is, or some money laundering or some illegal trade of wildlife through internet or some cryptocurrency kind of a thing, or blockchain, using blockchain technologies. Well, it may be anything. So these are the appliances. These are the tools. Now when it comes to the appliance, what exactly you are supposed to have. Now portable mobile forensic kits are available. We have discussed enough about the kits. So these mobile forensic kits are handy. Both hardware and then software are there. On-site data extraction analysis. So everything is happening on the site only. You need not take the trouble of again bundling it up and then sending it across the lab, and without taking proper measures you have sent something else and then that has not yielded any result, and all of this hassles can be avoided by using the mobile forensic tools, which can operate, which are very handy, both hardware, software type they are available, and then you can use it very and easily without much technical knowledge and all. Now, secure messaging platform. Now, why should there be a secure message platform? Now, we are dealing with a data which is very, very sensitive, which is very, very secretive, and if somebody, some third party or some vested party, vested interest element, if they are taking over, or if they are going to access, or if they are going to take entire control of the thing, then confidentiality is no more present. So for that sake, whatever you are sending, you have to ensure the data or the video or photo or the report, whatever is the case related material you are trying to send it to the scientists remotely, you should also be equally concerned about how secure is your data, how secure is your messaging system. So for that, secure messaging platforms is the fourth component that we have to talk about. Now again, tools, appliances, techniques, if you try to divide the entire thing into three groups, then as I said, messages, there are a number of ways where you can ensure the secrecy or confidentiality of the data that you are trying to send across. Now this is called encryption. So public private key and all, a lot of technical things are involved. Only the sender and then the receiver will be able to understand what exactly the sender has sent and what exactly the receiver has received. Is it the same thing which the sender is intending to send, and that's what exactly the receiver is also intending to receive. So that kind of a thing, there should not be any manipulation or tampering of the data, isn't it, as it happens in the physical world with physical evidence. Now, it can, the message platforms are also n number now. It is in the form of a signal, it can be Wicker, WhatsApp, and there are number of platforms that are available if you want to send your data across remotely and then still maintain the confidentiality and secrecy of the message. So end-to-end encryption is one such thing. And it will be between the party which sends and the party which receives. There should be some kind of a communication channel which will ensure the secrecy and secure the message what is being sent across. Now when you talk of appliances, again smartphones, computers equipped with this kind of an app, secure messaging apps are there. Now if these phones have this kind of an app, that will allow again real-time text communication. So most of the time it will be easy, instead of disturbing the other person. Text communication is always very easy, and then file sharing, because a lot of data gets generated in the crime scene. So it can be stored in a file, and safely if you can keep some encryption for this file, so there is no problem of leaking of information or breach of security and all. So you can use these appliances and ensure the secrecy or security of the message that you are trying to send, or rather the data that you are trying to send. Now what is the technology? So forensic experts, they are able to exchange the text messages, as I said, images, then documents, other information securely. Now, this communication collaboration during the forensic consultation is very much required, because if there is no secrecy, if everybody can have an access, and if everybody can see what is happening, including the accused, then it loses its significance. So that is another component which we need to talk about. Now, the fifth component being the digital evidence management system. How are we going to manage the entire digital evidence? How it has to be managed? Again, tools, appliances, techniques are there. Now, digital evidence management, like magnet, axiom, encase, and all, and these are all for proper imaging of the system, and then ensuring that the hash value is properly calculated and it remains the same for the copies and all, because we are supposed to maintain prepare some 3 copies out of that, one for analysis, one for our own records, and one for submission in the court and all. So in the court they will like to ask, is it the same copy, or is this copy the clone of the original? So how are you sure? How are you going to demonstrate that it is the same thing that you try to copy without any loss of data? Then for that sake, you may have to use a lot of imaging tools and all. So forensic lab, digital lab especially, is equipped with all these kind of data management systems. Now, these are some of the FTK Major and all, are some of the tools that we have, and this will also enable us to centralize storage, analysis, sharing of digital evidence and all. This is also another attribute of the tool. Now, when it comes to appliances, the forensic lab, from lab side, if you see, they also have a dedicated server, because this server should be segregated. This should be exclusively for the digital analysis purpose only, for cyber crimes only. So that kind of a digital dedicated server they have. Otherwise, most of the labs, they also, if a lot of data has to be stored, lot of data has to be analyzed and all. So they are going for this outsourcing, the cloud-based platforms also. I mean, not very many labs, but some labs which can afford this kind of platforms are also going for that. Now, to host the digital evidence management system and accessible to both. So both the parties, that is the expert as well as the IO, whenever they want to access, they can see the status and all. I mean, only these 2 parties should have the accessibility. Now, when you talk of technology here, forensic expert is, he can upload, he can analyze at any time, he can flag it, he can share the digital evidence securely, because you are using, as I told in the 4th point, that there is a secure messaging system also. So encryption kind of a thing we can use, and then we can ensure that this digital evidence management system is properly working. And if for accessing and for reviewing what are the findings and all, if IO is interested to know, he can always access it, review with the concerned scientist, and then findings also he is able to manage remotely. Now we'll talk about the augmented and virtual reality. I think this should be the last slide. The rest of the things I think we can discuss either Monday or some other convenient date. Isn't it? Now, augmented reality and virtual reality are also the buzzword these days when we talk of digital evidence and all. Now, as if you are there, you are almost immersed. You are immersed, like most of the time 3D, 4D, you must have seen in malls and all, they will ask you to wear a glass, and then they will ask you to wear that headgear and all, headsets, and then once you wear it, almost you are in the waters. Suppose the fishes are there all around. If you wear that glass, or if you wear that handset, you feel as if you are also, the fishes are coming and they are trying to touch you and all. So 4D, 5D, maybe in future we may have even touch element introduced. So that kind of a feeling you will have. No, these are augmented, that is enhanced. Augmented means, other words, enhanced reality. So we have both the virtual reality and augmented reality also. Now, this will facilitate again, as if The scientist is as if he is there, he is visualizing everything, as if he is collecting, as if he is assisting the IO. This kind of immersive visualization is possible with AR, VR tools, and forensic lab will deploy equipment for remote visualization, and not only visualization, once you are able to visualize it properly, so when reconstruction is not a big issue. Now the experts also will be able to properly guide them because they are able to see the things real time, so they will be able to guide and support the IO in a proper way. Now what is the technique? So he is again expert is using AR VR technologies, and he is trying to overlay, keep one layer upon the other, the digital evidences. He is going to flag those evidences, and then this will really help when you layer every evidences. It will help you definitely in reconstructing the real kind of a real scene scenario, and enhancing remote collaboration also it will give, because once everybody is in the group, so everybody can simultaneously what is happening in crime scene, because yourself is there, your superior may be there, or your director may be there, or when you talk of police, his SP is there. So many people can see simultaneously what is happening. And then this will be good when you talk of complex. Simple case, anybody, even a single officer can handle, but when it comes to the complex forensic scenarios, definitely this will help. Now, about the challenges and the considerations, I think Monday, or I'll give you the message so that we can complete the rest of the syllabus slowly, because we have enough time. So we'll leave the meeting for now. What it's all about, and what is forensic teleforensics, then what are the key features, and then what are the benefits that we can have by adopting the teleforensics, then what are the different components that are present in the teleforensics, all that we try to understand. Now in this class, or rather in this session of say 1 hour or maybe 40 minutes, what we try to understand is, now any technology, when it comes as a new technology, then definitely we do have challenges, and we need to consider so many other factors. Now what are all the challenges? Like in forensics, any new branch comes, it comes with its own challenges. Now when we talk of teleforensics, what are the challenges that we have currently? Now all the challenges we try to divide into 3 categories. One is technology based, then the other one is security based. Then when technologies are there, it is for the stakeholders to understand it, unless until, because this is a new area, unless until there is adequate training and adoption of these techniques, there is no point in inventing the techniques, isn't it? So the challenges are 3 categories. One is technology, then the other one is protection or security or confidentiality, then the third one is training and adoption. Now when you talk of technology, each technology has got its plus, that is benefits, and then disadvantages also. Now since we are talking about the challenges, that is difficulties or limitations or impediments, now we know that for the telecommunication or for teleforensics to be very, very effective, so what is required? Internet connectivity is required, that is number one, and there should be reliable, internet connectivity should be a reliable one. Now in remote areas, for example, or in rural areas, because infrastructure is very, very limited there, so there may not be 24/7 kind of a continuous connectivity. So that may pose, if you want to, for example, crime has taken place in some rural remote area where you don't have, though the technology speaks about remoteness, but still for it to be effective, we need to have communication channels, isn't it? One of the communication channels that we have when you talk of remotely related technologies is your connectivity, interconnectivity, isn't it? If for want of some infrastructure, so you may have this kind of a problem or the challenge. That is one challenge. Technology wise, this is the limitation. Then the other one is, now when you talk of crime related matters, they are very secretive, very confidential, and except for the accused, even accused is not supposed to know, except for the victim and the person who is investigating, or the forensic scientists who are the stakeholders. Other than these people, nobody else should know what is the data, from where it is coming, from where it is going and all. Because interconnectivity, when we talk of, now there can be access to anybody, somebody legally or somebody illegally, when they can hack, when they can intrude into systems and then have an access of the data, then it is paramount in such cases when we are channelizing the data, which is information which is very confidential and all, and which is a very, very sensitive case related information. Now such an information when it is transmitted through these channels, then the security of that data, because the data is very, very confidential unless the case comes to trial where everything is open in the open court. Otherwise, till such time, it is supposed to be very, very sensitive, very, very confidential. Now, when you want the technology to be very, very effective, the paramount thing that we have to ensure is the data security. Whatever data, whatever information that we are trying to send, it should be available only to the stakeholders, the persons who are authorized to have that information, not the unauthorized people, isn't it? So for that sake, we need to adopt in the technology some element which will give us assurance that only people who are entitled for it, people who are authorized to get that information or get that data, are only entitled for it. So we have to also, that is also another challenge. Now when we talk of training and adoption, now familiarization, whatever latest technologies are coming, training and research, these are very, very essential in the scientific community. Now unless the stakeholders are given thorough knowledge, thorough training in these technologies, there is no way that they will understand it, isn't it? So periodic, constant kind of a training for both the forensic scientists and also for the police officers is very, very essential. Now, why we have to train them? No, because we want to derive a lot of benefits out of this forensics. No, benefits can be arrived at only when you know maximum about what is going on. So, this maximum knowledge can be imparted only through training, and not only training, if you get trained and then if you are put in some place where the technology is not being adopted, then what is the use? So that is the reason why we try to club these two things, training as well as adoption. The personal training as well as once the person gets trained, that technology has to be adopted by the institution. Otherwise, the person over a period of time lose control over the subject, and it may, that particular training may become futile altogether. So these are the main challenges that we can talk about. Now, when we actually wanted to know what are all the technologies that are available with respect to the TELE forensics, now one that such system technologies is called augmented integrated surveillance intelligence system. So what do you understand? Now integrated surveillance intelligence system, that is, it is talking about something surveillance under guard, under under guard. You are under surveillance. Now that uses what does it use? It does for better monitoring. It does three things. So what are the three things? It not only monitors, it detects and it responds. So three aspects the augmented integrated surveillance intelligence system is going to do. Now with the help of what? There are cameras, there are sensors. So with the help of these things, now they are going to integrate. And how they are going to, why it is called integrated? Because it is remotely doing three things almost. Now what are the three things? It is able to monitor, it is able to detect, then it is also not only detection, it is also responding to mitigate that particular problem, it is also responding. Now what does it do? It is surveillance. Surveillance of what? Surveillance of illegal crossings, illegal crossings in both the borders, north and then south. So this is both night and day cameras. Night and day cameras, they are constantly monitoring the illegal crossings, that is illegal trafficking between the borders. So between both the borders, north and south. So they are called augmented integrated surveillance intelligence system. It is nothing but, it's a kind of a camera that uses sensing systems. So with the, and they are doing three things. So they are monitoring, they are detecting, and they are responding to illegal crossings, whatever illegal crossings that are there between the borders north and south. So these systems, these cameras and sensors are going to monitor that, and after monitoring, they are going to detect it when there is a illegal transport, and after detection, they also respond to the command control. So this is about augmented integrated surveillance intelligence system. Now another technology that is now in vogue is radiation detection technology. So what does it talk about? Now personal radiation detectors are there, and then they are given to this Customs Border Police Force, CBP, is in short for Customs Border Policing, Customs and Border Policing officers. So they are given, these PRDs are given to the officers, and they are also given to the agents. And what are these things? They are small electronic devices, so that are used to detect again the illicit transport of especially radioactive materials. So they are worn on the body by the police and then customs to provide an indication of the reading elevated radiation level. So they are so simple and they are so miniature form that the police or the customs, they are going to wear it on the body, and what does it do? It indicates the reading of the elevated radiation level. Now there are many methods to monitor the elevated radiation methods. One is by using Geiger-Müller detection, the other one is using gamma radiation survey meters or dose rate meters. There are a number of personal dosimeters and then Porter meters, like that. There are number of gadgets which will measure this kind of elevation in the in the radiation level. Now what does this the principle behind this Geiger-Müller is that it's a chamber which is filled with gas. Now the target when it passes through, radiation ionizes whatever radiation, because these are all radioactive materials. So the radioactive material, the target radioactive material, ionizes the gas, because the chamber is now filled with the gas. The gas gets ionized, the atoms separate, and then they divide into positive and then electrons, positive subatoms and electrons also. Now these positive and negative elements, they cause the current to flow between the electrodes. Now this rise in radiation is being monitored. So this is as simple as that. Now when we go to the other aspect, the remote video surveillance system also works in the similar way. Only difference is this is a pole mounted kind of a camera, and it covers almost 24 hours by 7. That means constantly it keeps on detecting the illegal crossing, and then this is also active in both the borders, north as well as the south. So remote video surveillance system, as the name suggests, these are all, when we talk of forensics, it's all relating to the remoteness only. Now what does it do? These are cameras, again as I said, they are pole mounted. Then the security surveillance, looking at the live feed. That means when as it is passing, the vehicle is passing, they are going to monitor because of the radiation and all. So it monitors, and then there are CCTV remote cameras, and then which normally operate on the operate remotely. Now This is called looking at a live feed images while on go. That means while the vehicle goes on, because this is talking about the illegal crossings, isn't it? So when the vehicle goes, which is involved in illegal crossings, now you can see the images through CCTV cameras, and then since they are remotely operated, the information goes to the police, and accordingly they will also monitor, detect these things, and then try to curb that. So this is about augmented integrated surveillance intelligence, radiation detection technology, and remote video surveillance systems. Now, when we talk of other technologies now, there are certain areas where the personnel, the investigating officer, or for that matter the forensic scientist, will not be able to go inside, isn't it? Now, such an areas, humanly it is impossible to go. So when humanly if it is impossible to go, so the machine does the job of a man. So that is the reason why they are called unmanned aerial vehicles. So as the name suggests, these vehicles, especially this is a project which go to support the Aerojon, that is US border control initiative. So what simply these vehicles mean is, they are equipped with sophisticated onboard sensors. There are onboard sensors. What is the job of these sensors? They provide long range surveillance, and they are useful for monitoring remotely the land border areas where patrol cannot easily travel and infrastructure is difficult to impossible to build. Now, wherever such areas where infrastructure wise if it is impossible or difficult to build, then in such areas where the personnel cannot go physically, so such areas are now equipped with the sophisticated onboard sensors. Sensors are there, and these sensors will provide long range surveillance. So this will help us to monitor remotely, because we cannot go inside physically. So this helps us in monitoring remotely the land border areas. This is what is unmanned aerial vehicle. Now when it comes to radiation portal monitors, they detect traces of radiation again. They are going to detect the traces of radiation emitted from an object passing through its area. This is simply, it is going to, even if it is in trace amounts also, when a radiation or when a radioactive material is being passed through the that particular area, it is going to detect that also. And again these are given to again the CBP personnel, and they were passive, non-intrusive. So most of the techniques in forensics, we know that they are non-intrusive in nature, to screen trucks. This is also talking about, these are all technologies which relate to the surveillance, constantly monitoring, surveillance, and then trying to prevent crossings and all. So radiation portal monitors are those devices which are given to these CBP people. So I told you what is CBP, Customs and Border Protection Force. So these forces are given now these particular monitors, and since they are very passive and non-intrusive in nature, so they are going to screen all the trucks that go through that area, and not only trucks and other conveyances also. So what is that they'll detect? They are going to detect for the presence of nuclear and radiological. So whenever these materials are suspected to be crossing borders, then this radiation portal monitor is very, very handy. These are already given to the CBP people. Now, what is anti-terrorism training? So with the special focus on training related to weapons of mass effect. So they are weapons of mass effect. We call it as biological warfare, chemical warfare, nuclear warfare, isn't it? So in such, these are weapons which aim at the masses, killing of masses. So this include identifying, intercepting potential instruments of terrorism. So what are the potential weapons of terrorism? As I told you, nuclear weapons can be there. These days even cyber terrorism is also one such terrorism, it can be nuclear terrorism, chemical terrorism, bioterrorism, like that, These weapons can easily be when it is radiation, because all these technologies we are talking about, the radiation. So these weapons of mass effect, we can intercept, we can also identify the instruments of terrorism. So as I told you, any technology will become popular only when it is non-intrusive in nature. You need not physically intercept, you need not physically go there and then do it. So this is a non-intrusive kind of an inspection technology and radiation detection equipment. So like that we have different technologies which talk about surveillance and all. I mean, this is an era of sensors. I mean, the modern times we are going to use more and more technology based on sensors. Now, there are sensors which are ground penetrating, and sensors and software which can see through. That means the hard material like brick, walls, rocks, and most of the non-metallic construction material, it can penetrate, it can see through these things. So where you cannot go, for example, a fire, an arson, or some kind of a debris has fallen, and then the other side you cannot go because there is a lot of rubble and all. So in such case, or you may have to penetrate the ground. So in such cases, these sensors are very, very helpful, and sensors with the help of software also, they are able to penetrate the ground. And if somebody has to see what is there on the other side, when there is a thick wall made of bricks, and when it is made of some rocks and all, or when it is made of some non-metallic construction material, if you want to see through the other side, or whether somebody is hiding on the other side of the wall, that can easily be done using sensor technologies. Now, there are other technologies, some more technologies are, one such technology is called the eyeball technology. So this is something, in a size as small as a baseball, and then these technologies work wirelessly, that means remotely, and then they keep on relaying the videos and audio back to the base for up to 2 hours, constantly it keeps on sending the images or videos. Now it can be hurled into any location, that means you can throw it. Hurl means you can throw it. You can throw it into any location, and this is quite weightless. It is quite weightless, and protected by a rugged rubber polyurethane housing. That means, if it is very small and if it is very sensitive, and if you throw, as I said, if you are throwing it into the location, then it may get damaged. In order to protect that, around it there is a protection layer also. This layer is made of a very tough kind of a rubber, rugged rubber, called the polyurethane kind of a material. So you can, and since it is very small, all that one has to do is just throw it into the location and then see. So it constantly, with the help of wireless relays, it constantly keeps on sending the videos and then audio back to its base. That means wherever command control is there, it is able to constantly send this data. Now up to 2 hours it can do it. So this is one technology called eyeball technology, and there are again wireless sensors, come with a lot of computing power. This will help us to secure borders, bridges, power plants, ships by detecting suspicious movements or dangerous cargo. So the material, if it is suspicious, since the cargo is carrying some suspicious, dangerous material, so they need to be intercepted. For that, radio warning back to the command control will be there, a kind of a signal will be there. So from there it goes back to the command control center, and that's how you come to know that there is, yes, definitely some dangerous cargo that is going on. So it is this movement is suspicious. So since it is suspicious, we need to intercept that, and once we intercept that, we will monitor that, we will detect it, and we also like to respond. These technologies or sensors are like to respond also for that. Now, license plate scanning equipment is another technology based kind of an equipment device. So what it does is, it is going to constantly scan the vehicle license plate. So each vehicle will also have a unique license plate, isn't it? So as the vehicle goes, now there is a license plate system, and they enter the state and process them through the stolen license. Now there may be a genuine vehicle whose license has been stolen, and once the vehicle is stolen, they are going to remove that license plate and all, they are going to have another plate. So when it passes through because such stolen plates, there is a database, that is a file that is being maintained, and when this passes through the state, then it is going to scan through that database, and if there is a match, as in fingerprints, if there is a match, there is going to be an alert to the dispatchers, and since there is an alert, they are going to verify the information and then notify the same to the police, who are going to intercept the vehicle, and the selected number of cruises are also outfitted with this technology. So this is license plate scanning equipment. Now digital imaging systems coupled with wireless technologies are also in vogue now. Now what do? They permit the sending of crime scene videos. Now we take a lot of videos, we take a lot of photos, and then they may include street photos, mug photo shoots, and other digital data, and then from central police stations. So this is talking about the digital imaging systems. Now smart dust is one. Now there can be thieves steal cars, they may steal furniture, they may steal stereos, and some valuable, even an article which has some value in terms of money. So robbers or thieves are interested in stealing those things, isn't it? So what will happen? It is going to, when that particular object or the material, when it leaves your house and then way out of the door, then it is going to scream. So what is the capacity of that sound and all? 2.4 gigahertz. So this is, it is going to give alarm in the form of a screaming. So these are called smart dust devices. And there are portable X-ray fluorescence analysis systems also that are available now to identify the gunshot residues, because this fluorescence, X-ray fluorescence, the principle is simple, and then since these are portable, they can be carried at the field level, and so what do? They identify the gunshot residue. The only thing that is important is, as soon as the crime is reported, and in case if you are able to apprehend the criminal in time, now because over a period of time, gunshot residue, if somebody cleans it up, somebody wipes it out, these particles may get loosened and they may be dropped to the ground, isn't it? So that is the reason immediate action is what is warranted. Now what does it identify? It is going to, in case of firearm shootings and all, in case of crimes involving usage of firearms and all, it is going to identify the gunshot residue, because in firing what happens in some firearms, the fire backing deposition also happens. A lot of gunshots also get fired back and they get deposited on the hands of the shooter and also on his person, on his hair, on his shoe and all. So if you can immediately take a swab of that and then identify with the help of a portable X-ray fluorescence, then you are establishing the fact that this person has got some link to the crime scene. So likewise blood, semen, other lot of biological materials also we may get. So all these can be detected with the help of the portable X-ray. Then field effect detectors are again devices which are very small, because please remember that whatever we use in field deployable kind of a devices, one has to remember, especially manufacturers have to remember that they need to be very, very small, they need to be very miniature form, and they need to be portable. So they are used to identify human beings hiding behind barriers such as walls. This we have already discussed in the previous slides, like that, these detectors are also well helpful. Barriers which are otherwise not visible to the naked eye. So with the help of these technologies, we can, somebody is hiding, some terrorist is hiding, behind the barriers. I mean, it may be wall, concrete kind of a thing. So you can, or if it is a kind of a thick tree or thick some bushes and all, you are able to see them. So this is field effect detector. And what is the FLI, or forward looking infrared? So it works on the infrared sensors, and it will enhance the ability of the aircraft, since they are mounted on the aircraft and our pilots too. So what is the benefit, even during the night and all, if somebody has to travel and all, this will help us. And also in drastic weather conditions also it will help us. Now, 1 second. So what are the applications of this teleforensics? One has to understand. Now, the major thing for which we talk about teleforensics, where the area which is very popularly being used is the crime scene reconstruction. Now, we have talked about AR, augmented reality, and virtual reality. These technologies can create the crime scene in a virtual environment. So what does the forensic expert do? He is able to visualize and interact with the scene remotely. As if he is there in the scene, he can interact, he can give guidance, he can assess the IO. The investigating officers are equipped with these kind of AR glasses and VR headsets, and they are able to capture the 360-degree images and videos of the crime scene, and they can also transmit the same to the specialist for analysis and for guidance, and also for giving a lot of leads into the case. And forensic expert can then use these kind of AR, VR tools to reconstruct. So now he has got all the images, he has got all the videos of the crime scene, even sitting remotely. Now what he does is, with the help of these tools and technologies, he is able to reconstruct the entire, since photos are there, since videos are there. So he is also constantly interacting with the system as if he is there, he is immersed in the system and all. He is able to monitor that, and he is able to annotate it and analyze the evidences, and then he is able to reconstruct properly the crime scene. The other technology where teleforensics are widely used is again evidence visualization, because once we talk of crime scenes are full of evidence, isn't it? Lot of evidences are also available. Now, using these AR glasses, the forensic specialist is going to overlay these digital annotations, labels, and then markers onto the real world view of evidence and the crime scene, as if he is there in the real world. He need not be there in the real world, or he need not be physically be there in the crime scene. Not only the crime scene proper for reconstruction, but the evidences that are present in the crime scene also, as if he is going to be seen, as if physically he is being present over there, as if he is immersed into the crime scene. Only thing he has to do is he has to wear that AR glasses. He will be able to visualize everything, including the evidences present in the crime scene. Now, forensic expert can use these kind of glasses to mark the blood stains. See, lot of evidences need to be marked. Not only they need to be identified, they need to be marked. So, bullet trajectories can be marked, like that blood stains can be marked, or any other physical evidence can be documented and they can be analyzed. And these headsets, VR headsets, provide more immersive environment. So what do you understand by immersive environment? As if he is virtually there in the real world. That is called the immersive environment. Though the expert to examine and annotate evidences, mark evidences, flag the evidences, and he can also examine, visualize the evidences in detail, and he can also be manipulate the 3D models, and then that will help in reconstruction again. Now, multiple users can also use, because there are number of stakeholders, like for example, judge himself may be interested in seeing, or the prosecutor may be interested in seeing, or other agencies like customs people may be interested in seeing. So all of them, by using the same technology, simultaneously, as if they are in conference, can view, visualize, review the evidences, because collectively they may have to take some decisions. So discuss the outcomes, findings, and then formulate some new strategies, and then they may change their investigative strategies altogether in real time. This immersive collaboration environment promotes information sharing. Why are we in the conference? The very purpose being in the conference is that information can be shared, because this information, as I told, is very secretive, secure information, isn't it? So for that sake, it has to be, knowledge has to be shared, exchanged, and then once there is an exchange, there should be consensus, there should be agreement, and so these team members, once they go for consensus, then they can investigate further. So that is the advantage of evidence visualization using AR and VR technologies. Now, courtroom presentation. What do you understand? Now, finally, whatever you may do in the scene, some disturbance just. So what do you mean by court presentation? So any evidence, when it is being presented by the expert, it will be subjected to scrutiny, isn't it? Now, as an agent of prosecution, what you need to do is, you will present whatever is your finding in the form of a final report. You are going to present it to the court. Now, it is for the court to get convinced, isn't it? After all, its legal proceeding has to happen, and during legal presentation also, the crime scene reconstruction, how you have done and how you have evaluated the evidence present over there. So this has to be done at the court level. The forensic expert can use these visualizations to provide judges, jurors. Of course, jury system is not there in our country. It can also help the attorneys. Now, all that they have to do is, they also have to wear these kind of things, and then they can be in that immersive kind of interactive session. So they can be given this, they can be presented with this, and so it will help. These technologies in that way will help the judge, because judge is a non-technical man, juror is a, attorney is a non-technical man. So for them to understand, make them understand, and then give a clear prediction of what is happening there. So as if he is also a scientist, he can use these technologies, and these technologies will definitely help even non-technical people understand the complexities that are involved in a particular crime, and then the complex forensic findings also they will be able to understand, because unless until they understand the intricacies involved in the technology, they are not able to give any verdict. So for that purpose, now even courts, they cannot say we don't understand this technology. Technologies are made so simpler that even a layman will understand. Provided you give these gadgets to them, they will also be able to understand. And once they understand the technology, any crime perpetrated through the use of technology, they will be able to give verdict on that. Now, virtual walkthrough of the crime scene or evidence reconstruction can supplement traditional forms. Now, traditional forms are, you are physically going there, making a walkthrough of the entire crime scene. I didn't understand what the crime is, what is the area of crime scene search, and then what are all the evidences present there, how we have to flag those evidences, how to collect, and these are all the traditional way of doing. Now, virtual walkthroughs are also nowadays remotely that can be done, and the evidences can be understood, and the photographs can be taken once they are identified. Evidences are identified, photographs of them can be taken, diagrams can be generated, and witness testimonies, that means witnesses need not be physically there, remotely also they can be connected, and then you can take the testimony of the witness as it happens in video conferencing and all. And courtroom experience also can be enriched, and then it can support the prosecution and defense's argument. So because each one of them will come with their own theories and then their own supporting evidences. So they can present their evidences not physically, but they can also, in case if they are occupied professionally otherwise, so they can avoid coming through coming to the court physically, and these technologies in a great way help them understand as if they are virtually walking through and virtually trying to collect the evidences, going to understand the diagrams and taking the pictures of these evidences, and then witnesses testimony can also be done through video conference. So I think we have done the syllabus for the semester. So before